Hello, family. It's the old school traveler. I'm back again. I'm here to tell you about a few things about apartment hunting in Boquete, Vulcan, and Panama City. I'm going to tell you what I went through, not what you went through or what you may go through, because you may never go through what I'm going to go through. And I'm pretty sure I'm not going to go through what you're going to go through. Now, let's talk about something. Everybody's budget is different, and I'm a very simple person. My lifestyle, when I move from country A to country B, it ain't going down. No. If that's the case, I may as well just stay in country A. Now, a lot of you, I realize that your income is less in retirement than it was when you worked. Mine went up. Mine went up for a lot of reasons. But the main thing was that I had a good job and I saved money because I knew that this day was going to come, or at least I hoped it was going to come. And in case it did, I was prepared for a lot of different things. Now, saying that, I'm not trying to move to Panama to live in Panama. That's where I'm different than most people. 99% of y'all, you got your own reasons for moving to Panama, but I'm not going from a mansion to a trailer home. I'm not doing that. No, I'm going to go to Panama and I'm going to live somewhere not too far from Panama City, if not in Panama City, because I want to use Panama City Airport more so than I really want to live in Panama. And what I mean by that, I want to use it to jump off to other areas of the world. I was very upfront about that. And I'm the kind of person that I don't need YouTube money to live in Panama. I have never gotten anything from YouTube. I would never get anything from YouTube. I don't care if I got 1 subscriber or 1 billion subscribers. I post these videos to show my family, my travels, and what I'm doing. That's it. That's it. I have been offered things for free for promotional efforts that I refuse to do for anybody. No, not me. Because see, some of you say I don't post things on YouTube for the money. 99% of you say that, you're lying. You're doing it for the money. No, I don't take any promotional efforts because I speak my mind, I speak my truth, and I'm not beholden to anyone. So the way this video is going to work, I'm going to show you some apartments and the prices of those apartments and the locations of those apartments. And you can decide if that's what you really want. If that fits your budget and your needs, by all means, go ahead and ask me who is the realtor or whatever. But let's talk about real estate in Panama. Let's get to the bare bones of it right now. Real estate in Panama is interesting because the realtors are, they may show you their properties. They may have a network where they're showing you properties. But let me tell you what I did. I used a fixer to help me find realtors to show me a property. I don't want to be beholden to any one firm, one company, whatever, because in my experiences, they have a business reasons to why they're showing you their properties first. It's just common sense. Even if their properties don't meet your requirements, they feel like I'm going to show them, when I say them, the Americans and Canadians, I'm going to show them and see if they jump at it. They may, but not I. I have a list of things that I require. And one of the things that I require is that I like room for my toys. When I say toys, I'm talking about my barbecue smokers. I want room for those because I'm a very active, busy person. And a lot of y'all want to go down there and sit around and read all day. Read all day, sit in the sun or whatever it is. Not me. I want to go down there and enjoy myself by doing other things that I don't do here, or even do more of the things I do here, just that I want a different environment. And one of the reasons, because there are times when I don't want relatives coming nowhere near me. I'm talking about your relatives and mine. I just like to be able to do something, start a project, finish it uninterrupted. That's just me. Now, everybody's different. Everybody's different. Some people like the peace and quiet. They like all that, and that's fine too. But there are times when I like being around people, but I like to pick who, when, where, and why. That's me. I do not like surprises. Nope, 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 nope. Now, let's talk about YouTube and what they post on YouTube. No one is going to post on YouTube, no realtor with common sense, a dump. They are just not going to do that. I will post a dump if a realtor shows it to me, knowing that I want something a lot better. And when they show me things that I'm not interested in more than once, it's time to move on. It's time to find somebody else who is listening to you. You know, just because I want to look at a place that costs $2,000, don't mean I want a $2,000 dump. No, I'm not saying that. And a lot of these realtors, I seen a YouTube video where a guy said that his lawyer is his, next door. They all the same people, the lawyers, the realtors, his fixer, everybody working together. And now here's the problem I have with that. When you get a lawyer to start getting your visas, no matter what type you get in Panama, you give them financial information. And you may give your realtor some financial information, but let me tell you about me. Yes, I gave my lawyer financial information, but I gave her enough to qualify and exceed that by a lot. But that was only from one stream of my total income. That was from one stream, and she was impressed with that. And I'm like, okay, I gave you enough to get this process and get the visa process started. I'm not giving you my tax returns. I'm not doing that. Because if that lawyer is sharing the same information with your realtor, you are just giving a lot of people your tax returns. And then the fixer probably saw it too. The secretary saw it, she printed it out. Nah, I'm not doing none of that kind of stuff. I'm going to give you enough to meet or exceed your qualification standards. That's all I'm going to give you. Anything else? Because see, I don't have a stream of money coming from anybody in social media. I don't do Instagram. I don't do TikTok. I don't do none of that. So that realtor has no clue to what type of apartment that I can afford. He knows what I want. And it may be that with him, I want an apartment costs $3,000 a month. You see, I've never told a realtor my bottom amount or my top amount. I just told them what my needs are. And I know that he knows, based on my needs, that I want something that's going to be close to $2,000, if not more. It is what it is, because I'm going to get what I want. And I also told him, if I'm asking for 3 and 4 bedrooms, don't show me a 2-bedroom. I'm not interested. And if you show me something and say, listen, I know your standards is you want something, I got something for $1,400. That may be the case. But in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if you got something this nice for $1,400 per month, I can only imagine what I can get if I add another $500 to it. I expect something a lot better. So that's how I deal with realtors in Panama. And people say, you should never get more than one. Why are you wasting your time with one if he showed you 8 or 9 properties and none of them have met your standards yet? That's the waste of your time, their time, and anybody else's time. You know, I mean, it's just a waste of time. You know, if you know what my needs are and you say, okay, here's the deal. That's going to cost $2,200 a month. Show me my needs and I'll tell you that it's worth it or not to me. And not because of the price, but because there are amenities or things I'm missing. If you give me a viewing that meets 80% of my needs, let's talk about it, because the 20% it doesn't meet may be something I can live without. It may be something I can live without. But don't be showing me things that don't even meet 50% of my needs. That just turns me off. And now we have a trust problem. I'm trusting myself that you're not listening to me. Because it shouldn't be that difficult if someone to write down and say, this is what I need in any apartment you show me. You got to go find that and just tell him or her what it costs. Some people want to go to Panama and they want to live in a trailer home. They want a house they can pick up and take to Walmart or Price Mart or whatever you want to call it. They want that kind of accommodations. That's not me. I don't shop at Walmart. That's not me. I'm a guy who likes to buy things one time. And normally when you buy something one time, it's normally quality stuff because it's going to last you a while. You go and you buy some of the cheap Chinese stuff. It is what it is. Don't complain about it. You bought it. You want to be cheap. And now you got a cheap product, and the cheap product didn't last. They never do. Now, like I was saying earlier, I'm showing you places that I would never in my life live because, something's wrong with them based on my fact sheet. And some I'm showing you because some of you, your needs are very, very basic and they meet your qualifications. They meet all this. And I'm fine with all that. They meet your qualifications. They don't meet mine. So I already know, based on me talking to Americans, I already know that 95% of the Americans I talk to, not 95, 99.9, we are not going to be neighbors. I already know that. We're not going to be neighbors. Because when I look at people talking about what budget they got, but yet they want all this, all that, we're not going to be neighbors. No, my goal of Panama is that I want to live among Panamanians. I'm not an American who's trying to move America to Panama. The hell with that. I can just stay in America if I want to be around these large expat communities. I done lived in 9 different countries in the world over the last 30 years, and I enjoyed all of them, and I figured things out on my own or with the locals. I learned a lot more about countries when I hang out from the locals. I don't want the American version of what Panama looks like, it should be like. No, I want Panamanians telling me about their country. If I go to a potluck dinner, I do not want oxtails and bean casserole. No, I want Panamanian food. I do not want Americans, with their version of what Panama's like. When you're around a bunch of expats, a lot of weird things come up. A lot of weird subjects come up. No, before you know it, you got politics. If the politics where you at is so great or so bad, if politics where you are is so great or so bad, then you need to really focus on where you live at. You gotta have that neighbor who's from the greatest place in the world before he moved to Panama. But so why did you leave? No, I mean, you're just gonna have that. I want to go where I know very few people. You ain't gotta speak. You ain't gotta speak English. Because I'm gonna learn Spanish. But if I'm around a bunch of expats, that's a problem. I don't want to apartment hunt around a bunch of expats because I found out that the Panamanians tend to know a lot more about Panama than the expats. I found that out a long time ago. But you do have some expats, and no matter where you go in the world, they swear to God, they know more about the neighborhood than the people who've been there their entire lives. They swear to God. They are and you got people who are just who is just an expert on everything. Let me tell you something. I went to an apartment and I asked, what about barbecue grills? The guy said, oh, they're not allowed in any of the high rises. I said, okay. But yet I'm sitting there on the balcony of a high rise. I see about 5 or 6 Traeger grills out there. And I'm thinking to myself, they're not allowed, but yet I see 5, 6 of them over there. Now, if you got one person that can be rogue, and maybe the rest of them follow the rogue, the next apartment I went to, I said, do this high rise allow smokers? The guy goes, sure they do. Sure and behold, as I go outside, I see about 4 people smoke. Now, so whatever they was telling me, there was no consistency, and the fixer, who was Panamanian, spoke Spanish fluently, I met him through another guy that was in the military with me. And he told me, he said, if you're ever in Panama or Colombia, Here you go, the guy to call. This guy knows everything about everything. He's Panamanian. So when I called him, I said, "What's the policy on smokers?" He said, they are allowed in most. He said, in most high rises. He said, and you got a house, it's not a big deal. So that shaped my attitude. Do I want a house or do I want an apartment? And so people were giving me answers based on what they could do in their high rise. It was not a high rise around the world type question. It was about your high rise, but they answered like it was a around the world question about smokers and high rises. So you have to be careful who you ask, because a lot of people, and not just in Panama, but in America, especially in America, they can know nothing about your situation, but they'll give you an answer though. They will give you an answer and be wrong as hell, but yet answer with confidence. They will answer with confidence. Because I said, are there any high rises that do not allow pets? The guy said, oh, they all allow them. No, I went to a mid-rise. They didn't allow pets. So you see my point is that people are going to ask questions, and they're going to ask a lot of things. And and you always got one idiot who's going to answer knowing he knows nothing about the subject, that particular high rise. But, so my fixer gave me a lot of information, inside information. And he was telling me what the rents goes for in those neighborhoods. And I know he was accurate, because when I started seeing more Panamanians than Americans, I knew that he was right. I say, this guy knows what he's talking about, because I'm seeing the demographics change. And so I knew that they were getting a lot better quality apartment at a certain price. That was never going to happen for me. Now, like I said before in the video, you're going to get scammed out of some money. It's just a matter of how much do you want to get scammed. That's all it is. No one works for free. And the more people you got in that train, in that supply chain, everybody in that supply chain is going to get a piece of the pie. That is just how it works. So don't get upset about those kind of things. You just got to sometimes close your eyes and say, you know what? It's going to happen. But it don't have to be the worst case. But when you go to a place and you are paying $400 a month, you got to know the locals ain't paying that kind of money, because I asked my fixer, he took me to his place. He had a very nice place. He was paying $600 a month, and he's highly educated. One of the ones that, he's got a good side hustle. He got his own business. He was paying $600 a month, and he said, let me show you a place that costs about $350 a month in Panama. He showed me a nice little house, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, but it was $300 a month. And yet I had seen a house that American stayed in that was almost the exact same house. And that house the Americans were staying in, he was paying $475 a month, and he was totally happy. Totally happy. Ain't nothing wrong with that, but it ain't me. It's never going to be me. Because I figure on my utility bill being about $400 a month. If you're from the Northeast, that's just part of life, dealing with the Northeast. So it's just one of those things that you got to tell yourself, what standards do you want, and what standards, more importantly, are you used to? That's me. I'm used to certain things. I'm not going to change. It's going to be the way it's going to be to the day I die. And I'm not on a budget where every penny counts, every $10 counts, every $100 counts. If I got to spend $100 more to get what I want, that's what I'm going to do. Because I believe that the older I get, the more I owe myself creature feature comforts. I owe myself comforts. You work your whole life, and you in the last quarter, if not the last 10 minutes of your life, who are you saving money for? Get that apartment you want. Go out and have fun. You saving for who? If you ain't did enough for your kids by the time they get their college degree and get started in life, you ain't gonna never do enough. They're going to beg you, beg you, beg you, beg you. No, go live your own life. And see, like I said, a lot of people got just Social Security. If you're getting just Social Security, I don't know where you can live and be happy. Now, can you make it work in some places? You sure can. I never even thought about that, trying to live off just Social Security. From the time I was born, that thought never crossed my mind. I knew when I retired, I'm going to have a few places to live at, and I'm going to be comfortable as hell. Anybody else beyond that, hey, if your kid's 30, 40, 50, whatever, and you ain't did enough by now, you ain't going to never do enough. Quit trying. Let that kid either give them their inheritance right now and move on with life, or go live your life. You know, people say, well, if I go to Panama, if I go to Panama, I don't want to, spend my kids' inheritance. Well, guess what? I work for it. I get to spend it. I get to decide everything about it. You really can't worry if your kids love you or not when you're in the grave, because some kids will have you in the grave and you would not know anything about it. But Panama is not a place that I'm going to skimp back and see what I can leave for somebody else. And see, I'm the kind of person, I told you, I'm going to rent a place for 12 months, and I might be there in that place. I might be there at the most 4 months out of the year. Now, the other months, I'm going to give access to the kids, to the family members. They want to come down, they can come down. They can, do what I'm doing, or they can do something different, or they can just be along the beach. I'm not buying a beach property. But it's just a matter of, it's a lot of options they got, but a lot of options I have that's even more importantly. So that's just me. But other people, though, they may want to, come down and just do nothing, read a book all day long. You got people like that. It's not me. I am not waiting to die. I'm going to be busy trying to stay alive. But also, I'm going to be busy trying to do everything I ever dreamed about in the world I live in. That's just me. But you do have people who says, I'm going to spend the rest of my life doing nothing. And I'm not saying reading a book is doing nothing. It ain't doing much. So don't get it wrong. It ain't doing much. You're not exercising anything other than your mind. And a lot of people, the mind's been gone because they got some issues mentally. Their mind's been gone. Now, some people, they all put up videos, and I probably spend about an hour or a week on YouTube. I'm talking about looking at videos, editing very little, because when you telling the truth, you ain't got to edit very much. When you trying to sell a product, or a lot of people, you got to put some work in. And that's not me. So just tell people the truth, and you ain't got to work that hard. It's kind of like I used to tell my kid. If you telling the truth, you ain't got to remember a whole lot. When you lying, you got a whole new album you got to play that you got to remember all the songs to. And that's difficult when the words change on every song. But if you're telling the truth, you'll be all right. Now, my thing too is that I want a community that everybody's a little bit different. And I don't want a gated community. That is no better than going to America and wanting a gated community there. You just telling the have-nots, I have. Now, you can say, oh, you can stay in a big house and they know you got something. Yes, they do. But also, I want them to know, don't be afraid to say hi to me either if I do not have a gate. When you get into a gated community, you're trying to tell the people you're keeping out, don't bother, touch, or see me. That's what you're trying to do. I'm not that kind of person. That's me moving America to Panama. No, I want them to have a place in Panama. And I'm not doing it to show everybody what I got. I'm just letting everybody know this is what I'm used to. This is what I'm used to. And I ain't finna change that for nobody. But don't be afraid to say hi to me because, everybody in life started somewhere. It's where you end that you got to be proud of. And that's my point. But I don't want the Panamanians feeling that, I'm an unwelcoming person into my house or my neighborhood either. So My whole point to everybody is that you got to be realistic about what you can afford, what you want. Because a lot of times you want a whole lot of things you can't afford. I had those days, but it ain't one of those days now. I want to have fun. I want to travel the world. I'm a traveler. Travelers don't stay still very long. If they do, they're not traveling. And if they're not traveling, they're bored as hell. When I come back to the States, I'm busy every single minute of the day. If I'm not busy, I'm trying to find something to keep me busy. Whether it's mowing grass, barbecuing, visiting a friend, washing the car. The idea that, well, I know I can go to a car wash. I hate paying for manual labor. And so in these apartments, you want to live, a lot of people want large expat communities. Not at all, not at all. If I don't see an expat, I'm good with that. Because I'm not moving down there to see them. Yeah, I am good with that. Some people, they got to be surrounded by expats. They got to do a lot of things with expats. They want to go party with expats. That's fine if that's your life. But to me, you might well just have stayed in America. If you stayed in America, you could do the same thing. They'd been called neighbors and not expats. But to go to another country and that's how you want to live, I'm not sure, what's the investment here? What's the investment to go to another country and be around all Americans? And then I'm gonna tell you one reason why. You can't share your political views with somebody who don't understand you, who don't understand your political views and your religious views and all this other stuff. If they don't understand none of that. Just go out and just be among the Panamanians, have fun with them. And some people who are introverts, you just are going to be a social introvert down here. If you are an introvert, you are just an introvert. And most introverts do not make an effort to be different as far as opening up to people in other areas. No. They just as introverted as possible. And that's just them. They're not going to give you a hug. They give you a handshake from a distance. Extroverts, we like to have fun and we are easy to talk to and we just want to open up and have fun and find out what you want to do. So in my apartment complex, I'm going to have a bunch of people, if not all, that don't speak English. And if you can't learn their language, then maybe you shouldn't be in their country. It is what it is. And like I told you earlier, I've been asked to promote certain things and getting paid for it. No, hell no. So, saying that, look at these apartments, look at the prices, see where they're located, and see if you have an interest. And then you can go to an apartment or a realtor and tell them where. Don't ask me. I have not lived in any of them. Looked at all of them, have not lived in any of them. And when I promote something, tell you what I know, it's because it's what I know. It's kind of like people complain about electricity bills in Panama. If you didn't know that you're going to have to pay for it and it may be expensive in a hot, humid country, you're pretty damn stupid. You're pretty damn stupid. Anybody who lived in a hot place, and if you are pale skinned, I'm talking about people who are white as a piece of paper, you're going to burn up on the sun and you're going to need AC. And that AC is going to cost what it's going to cost. If not, you're just creating your own medical problem by sitting around in hot ass humid apartments all day. And it's not that difficult if you live in a place that got potential, or I don't want to say upper scale, which is where I'm going to be. That's why I won't see none of y'all as a neighbor. You should know that I need an AC in every room or in all the rooms that I spend most of my time at. You should know that kind of stuff. So this is the Old School Traveler telling people about apartments and the real truth. The real truth. So don't you go down there thinking that you're not an expert because you heard me. No, you just know what the real truth is, how they handle you and how you handle them. Hey, that's on you. But my advice to anybody, you get a fixer, man. They can do a whole lot of things. But apartment hunting is one of the things that they are very, very good at because half of them know what's in the apartment. They've seen them, because they've been with touring groups or whatever have you. and they also know where they are, and they can hook you up. But if you go down there thinking this guy loves me because my lawyer say she loves me, hell no. No, no, no. They love the dollar, including the fixer. But I like a set fee, knowing what I'm getting into before I get into it. It's kind of like I like to have an idea what the temperature is in the pool before I jump in. And if it's extreme either way, I ain't jumping in. So this is the Old School Traveler saying peace out.